Gente, boa tarde a todos. Eu quero dar as boas-vindas a todos essa tarde. Eu sou o Átila, eu sou orientador do EducationUSA no Rio de Janeiro. E eu tenho o prazer de estar aqui com a Mary Margaret Herman, que está falando da gente diretamente de Colorado. Ela vai se apresentar com mais detalhes daqui a pouquinho, mas eu queria dar as boas-vindas a todos em nome do EducationUSA. Lembrar a todos que o EducationUSA é a fonte oficial de informações sobre estudos nos Estados Unidos, e os orientadores do EducationUSA, que estão espalhados em mais de 40 escritórios no Brasil inteiro, estão prontos para ajudá-los a entender todo o processo de candidatura para universidades nos Estados Unidos, os diferentes tipos de instituições que existem, os diferentes requerimentos para cada instituição. Hoje, super interessante, a gente vai ouvir sobre dois tipos de instituições diferentes, que são os community colleges, né, que as pessoas geralmente estudam por 2 anos, antes de se transferir para uma universidade de 4 anos. Então, a gente vai falar um pouquinho hoje sobre como funciona também esse processo de transferência, quando os alunos terminam seus estudos em community colleges. E a sessão de hoje está sendo gravada, gente, e ela vai estar disponível no canal do YouTube do EducationUSA Brasil. E a sessão vai ser em inglês, então eu peço que vocês, por favor, mantenham seus microfones desligados. Fiquem à vontade para ligar as suas câmeras, se desejarem. Se tiverem perguntas durante a apresentação, por favor, usem o chat, escrevam para a gente. Né? No final da apresentação hoje, a gente vai ter um tempinho para fazer um pouquinho de Q&A, né? De perguntas e respostas com a nossa convidada. Tá bem? Então, without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Mary Margaret and give her a chance to introduce herself. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Mary.
Thank you so much for having me. Bem-vindo, everyone. It's so nice to be here with all of you and to be speaking a little bit about the wonderful 2+2 model is what we call it in the United States. Just a show of hands, and I want to get interactive here. How many people know what a community college is? You can just use your little reaction buttons if you're able to, or put in the chat. Does anyone know what a community college is? Okay. Great. This is a good jumping off point, and I'm going to step back just a minute and introduce myself. My name is Mary Margaret. You can call me MM. I know Mary Margaret is a very long name. I come from an Irish family, and so I have a pretty big name. And I am the International Enrollment Operations Manager at the University of Colorado, Denver. We have 4 separate campuses, but I am at the Denver campus, and we also call it CU Denver or CU in the city. So a community college in the United States, also called a junior college at certain points in time, is a school where students can start out their college opportunity and really start to explore whether or not college is for them or university is for them. And really start to work on some of general education requirements, because the way that the university system is set up in the United States is one based on the liberal arts model. And the liberal arts model really is designed to make sure that students are very well-rounded, that they're taking art and math and literature and courses like cross-cultural communication, and really starting to build a nice foundation to then move into their subject matter expertise for their program or degree program. And so for a lot of community colleges, their curriculum starts out with general educations, and then students move into a specialization. And at that point, at the end of the career, which the degree for a community college is called an associate's degree. When a student gets an associate's degree, they can or earlier, they can choose to move on to a 4-year institution. Now, some of the benefits that my colleague Linda, who's not here right now from Red Rocks Community College, would say, some of the benefits are smaller class sizes, a reduced tuition amount, so it's a money saver. And there, really is just a great support staff and an environment within our community colleges. So I am going to start at the point of which you've finished some coursework at a local community college in the United States. It could be in the state of Colorado or outside the state of Colorado. And what that looks like when you're deciding, how all your courses will transfer over to a 4-year institution, what you may need to be mindful of. And then I'll talk a little bit more about our admissions process at CU Denver. If you do have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them as I go or when it seems fit. And I'll also leave time for questions at the end. Okay, so let's share my screen. Any questions so far? Feel free to put them in the chat. Okay. Great. So I am at the University of Colorado, Denver, and to tell you a little bit about our institution, we have about 15,000 students at our campus, which is located in downtown Denver, right in the heart of the city. And we have about 1,100 international students at CU Denver. The University of Colorado Denver shares a campus with 2 other institutions, Metropolitan State University and Community College of Denver. So we share our campus with a community college as well. And that's why this particular campus is the most diverse in the state of Colorado. Okay. My presentation is, oh, there we go. Okay. So let's just talk about transfer planning, okay? Let's say hypothetically, you went to Red Rocks Community College or the Community College of Denver, and you've taken a couple courses or you've finished your associate's degree, and now you want to transfer over to the University of Colorado, Denver. We can provide an unofficial review of your credentials in the American system. And if you have less than 24 credits at a university or college, we would want to look at your high school as well. And we would do an evaluation of your Brazilian high school credential and really kind of look at how that scale compares to the university, the grading scale compares to the university scale at CU Denver, which is a 4.0 scale. And then we'd make an evaluation and decide on what your cumulative GPA, your overall GPA would look like in the American system. And we also might look at your math, depending on if you are applying for an engineering program. So we can review your credentials when you apply. We do an official evaluation, but if you're looking at, will things transfer over? Will these courses get counted, right? Am I not wasting my money? You could do an unofficial review. Also, for transfer students, if you are attending an institution, a community college in the state of Colorado, then we have agreements with all of the other colleges and universities within the state of Colorado to say that all of these courses will definitely transfer. You'll get the exact, amount of credits, and the course will count toward this degree program. And we have agreements on those. If you're transferring from outside of the state of Colorado, and this includes if you go to university in Brazil and you start in Brazil, or elsewhere and then decide you want to transfer here, we also do transfer credit evaluations of your any of your coursework that you've done outside the state of Colorado at the university or college level. And we have a program called Transferology where you could look up how your courses might transfer. So there's a lot of information to kind of plan out how things will count and what that will look like for you from a credit and degree completion perspective and also a financial perspective, because this is a great money saver to go to community college. So when you're looking for a school and you are preparing for the transfer process, and if you're going to try to transfer to CU Denver, and here's our beautiful campus, that green space is actually now has some new student housing there, but this is where we are. We're right in the heart of the city. Okay, so if you want to, you love this campus, you think it's so cool, it's right there in the city, looks like a beautiful place, and if you look on the other side, you see the mountains. If you want to apply, then what you'd want to do is you'd want to look at your specific program and see what the requirements are, especially if you're planning on studying engineering. And then you'd also want to look at math courses and English courses that might be required. So let's say you're coming from, you know, a Brazilian college and you're coming, you know, all of your courses have been at institutions that are outside of the US, or I know some of you are attending IB schools or Canadian schools, American schools that have an American or Canadian curriculum that may transfer over. You also just want to make sure you would take an English course of a certain level, a writing class. And your math GPA, if you are applying to an engineering course, would need to be somewhere from the 2.7 range and above. So those are things you want to look at specifically when transferring, and also what math courses would be required from your program for engineering. But really, that's kind of like the start when you're planning. So you're looking at the transfer guides, you're looking at program-specific admissions requirements, and really kind of gathering all your information together. Okay, so in terms of what we at CU Denver require for a transfer application, we'll need your online application, and we do have the Common App. We also have our own application. There's an application fee of $75, but I believe if you do the code here and you say that as you attended this event, we can waive your application fee. We would need to see your complete college or university transcripts. If you did go to an institution in the US, you would need to have your institution send us what we call official documents directly from your institution for the application process. If you attended a college or university outside of the United States, or high school outside of the United States, for the application process, we don't need anything directly from your school, but later on, after you get admitted, you would have some time to have your institution send us one or bring us an official copy in a sealed envelope. And by complete, I mean, if, let's say, you finished your degree program and you finished it in, let's say, August, and you send me a transcript that says, doesn't include the end of your coursework, right? I wouldn't consider that complete. So you'd want to make sure it shows everything from start to finish from when you were at that institution, and make sure that we could see your entire academic record. And then we have your complete high school transcripts. if you completed less than 24 university credits. And 24 university credits for us is the equivalent of a year, basically. And so 1 year of academic work in a university or college to us is 24 credits. And that may look different on, and how your university or college may calculate credits, and that's fine. We would say it's 24 credits. Evidence of English language proficiency. We have options from tests to coursework to countries that are exempt, depending on also the curriculum of your school. Like I said, if you're attending a school whose curriculum is accredited in a specific country that's on our exempt list, like Canada, for example, or the United States, then completion of a degree at that type of institution would satisfy ELP. And I'll get on to that a little bit more. And then essays, depending on the institution. Now, for CU Denver, you do not need to write an essay. We do not require that. We also have what's called conditional admission. So if your academic work looks good, then we will admit you, and then you'll have conditional admission based on once you satisfy the English language proficiency requirement. Automatic merit scholarships, yes, we have those. I'll talk about those a little bit later, but we do have scholarships that we just automatically give to students based on their academic work and their grade point average. Okay, so let's dig into, do we have any questions yet so far? I'm not sure if I saw any. No, okay, great. So let's talk about English language proficiency at the University of Colorado, Denver. So for all our tests, we have our overall score that we want to see, and then we have sub-scores for each of the different areas. So writing, reading, if you're taking Duolingo, production is the hardest one. And we can also combine scores. So let's say you took the score, you took the test twice, and on one of them, you did really well on everything but production. And then on the next one, you got a passing subscore for production. We will take a look at that and combine them and decide that you can pass English language proficiency, right? We also accept IELTS and TOEFL, PTE academic. If you earn your associate or bachelor's degree in the US, we accept that as well. If you have over 24 credits at a US institution and you have taken English Composition 1, so those English courses I was talking about, or 2 and got a B, a 3.0 or higher, or you got a 2.7 GPA, that would count as well. And then again, these are pieces that relate to credentials that are accredited by an exempt country. So that's an option as well. Ooh. There we go. Our transfer process. So you'll want to complete your application, then we will make your decision. Then your application will go into our transfer evaluation bin, and they'll evaluate any coursework at the university or college level that you want to transfer. And then you'll get an admission letter with your transfer credit evaluation and how much you have towards your CU Denver degree. Then you would accept your offer, complete your immigration clearance form, and then if you're in the United States and you already have an I-20, you would contact your international student office, and you would have your I-20 transferred to CU Denver. If you haven't attended school in the US yet, we would generate an I-20 for you, and that's the document that you use for your visa process. Okay, so I think this next slide is just for information and Q&A, but I know we want to touch upon scholarship, so I will talk about that. I'll give you a little chance to just get this information. This is all of our social. There's some great information on there. And I'd also recommend following this account. CU Denver International is for student activities, so you can kind of see what student life is like. Okay. Just going to stop my share for a moment. Any questions so far? What are you most curious about in terms of life or academic life in the United States? Anything goes. This is a safe space. You can ask your questions, and I guarantee that any question that you ask, maybe another student would have the same one. Okay, well,
I want to join,
sure.
Excuse me to interrupt you, Mary Margaret. I just want to, reinforce, please feel free to turn on your mics, your cameras if you have any questions. We're lucky that our guest today is willing to answer questions in general about academic life in the US. So I have a question, if you could please comment on, Mary Margaret. I actually went to school, I went to college in the US, and I was really happy that I got to live on campus throughout my time there. Is it the experience of students who transfer, in their junior year, for example, after community college? Are they able to live on campus? Do they prefer to live on campus? What would be the benefit of living on campus? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Of course. So at the University of Colorado, Denver, we have both on-campus and off-campus housing. And we have options for all students. Some housing is going to be specifically for first-year students, but we do have other housing that's available to all students. I think what's really helpful about living on campus is building a community and having quicker access to resources like computer labs and your professors and the dining hall where you may have a meal plan, right? So that you're not spending extra money off of campus. It's also, where we have our wellness center, which, has a pool and a climbing wall and nap rooms. And we also have a pantry for students where they can go and get, some food items or hygiene items like shampoo or conditioner once a week. And so there's just a lot of support and resources on campus. We also have, you're just there. It's a safe space. We have 24/7 campus police who are there to make sure the place is safe. And so, you really are just kind of looked after. There's a lot of people who stay in the housing, make sure that the students are doing all right in a lot of different respects, whether it's physical safety or mental and emotional safety. And there's a lot of extra programming that happens on campus in the evening hours. So great option to stay on campus, but also, people have they want their independence and they want to have a deeper intercultural experience off of campus. And, you know, living in the city of Denver, or some students live over in Aurora, there's, you know, a lot of cool neighborhoods to explore. You kind of get deeper into the intercultural experience through things like working on a housing lease. If you're going to rent a room in a place, you're going to learn more about, you know, what types of housing contracts exist, and you know, using different like banking apps in order to pay your rent, right? Stuff like that. So there's benefits to both. I know I said I would talk about this before, and I just want to touch upon our scholarships that we have available while it's fresh on my mind. So here's our website, and I'm in this section called Cost and Financial Aid. And I'm going to go to undergraduate because we're talking about transferring specifically. We have scholarships available for both first year and transfer students. So this is available for 4 years if you're a first year student applying out of a high school, and also for 2 years if you're applying as a transfer student, okay? So we have our automatic scholarships, which if you apply to the University of Colorado, Denver, you can get up to $10,000, and we'll look at the grade point average later on. Also, if you need more than that amount and you think your grades are good or you have financial need, we have additional applications for additional merit scholarships and need-based grants. The most money we've given out ever was this year, and that was $30,000 per year to one student, which is a lot of money. Also, we have scholarships for if you go to our ESL Academy and you want to study English there. There's money for graduating and coming to CU Denver. And then our programs have specific scholarships, and then we have more external scholarships that you can apply to. So in terms of the automatic merit scholarships, when we determine your GPA through our credential evaluation, so when we receive your academic transcripts, we're going to review them and make a calculation of your what your grades would look like in the US system. And then you would get put in one of these ranges and you would just automatically get that amount of money. Additional needs-based, and these scholarships are offered in the fall and the spring, so something to keep in mind. And then we have 2 rounds of reviewing the applications for additional merit and financial need. So we do that twice because we realize sometimes students, you know, complete their applications later. So we want to make sure, you know, we're looking at all students. Okay. Any other questions? Where are you all from in Brazil? I've been to a couple different parts. I've been to Curitiba, which is very, very cool. And went to Chapada dos Veadeiros, it's the national park, and did a lot of swimming in the cataratas there. It was very, very beautiful. Where else? Obviously Rio, right? Most people go through there. Brasilia, I visited. I'm assuming this group might be more so from Rio.
It's a bit of a quiet group.
I know it is. I know. I'm wondering if people are in high school or college here. Achila, what sort of frequently asked questions do you get from your Brazilian students?
That's great. We actually receive a lot of the same questions again and again and again. Brazilian students have honestly recently have been becoming more familiar with community colleges more recently, and Education USA has been, making this effort to make them more popular among Brazilian students. So we receive a lot of questions about, whether people who attend community colleges in the US will be able to return and use their degrees to continue their education here. We certainly receive a lot of questions about affordability and the ability to fund their studies while in the US. And let me see, people have a lot of questions about the experiences on campus, thinking about how different a campus of a four-year institution might be from a community college campus. Yeah, let me ask you about something I often get asked about. I have my cheat sheet here for questions I always get. One of the questions I get, and I was actually hoping you could touch on this today, is what would be the advantage for a student? What would be the benefit of doing a 2+2 model versus attending the University of Colorado from the get-go? How would you compare that, Mary Margaret?
Yeah, so my colleague Linda from Red Rocks Community College often touches upon their student to faculty ratio. And so when you go to a larger university, especially a four-year institution like CU Denver, there may be more students in a class than there would be at a community college. So you're not getting as much hands-on interaction with a professor. That it depends on the courses that you're taking. But if you're taking, for example, Intro to Psychology, that's going to be a packed course, in a big seminar. And so, when you're going to office hours to really learn more, about a part of the subject that is more confusing for you, you may be competing for time with your professor and not have as much opportunity for extra help. Also, and that being said, we do have a lot of academic resources at CU Denver, which I can talk about. But also, just from a financial perspective, Red Rocks Community College, for example, has a lower tuition rate based on their amount of credits, and so that would make it a cheaper experience for you. And what's nice is that in some cases you'll go to a university and they don't have the agreement. So let's say you go to a community college in Denver, for example, and there's not an agreement with the university you're transferring to. It could be that they, decide, we're going to cap the number of courses or credits that you can transfer over. So that basically means that if you took 60 credits at Red Rocks Community College, but the university you're transferring to will only accept 30, then that means you've paid for courses that you cannot use toward your 4-year degree, and you'll have to take more courses, right? I think at this point, most universities are understanding, but that is something you want to keep in mind is, what are the number of credits that am I allowed to transfer to another for a 4-year institution or another school? And so let's just quickly take a look at those other. So I have my student activities and campus life. And in terms of our, well, the links life. So we have a lot of different organizations and a lot of academic support, some of which is right in the housing building for our first year students, for example. We have support outside of the classroom for, professional development and, really kind of working on your career. And I want to talk about student employment on campus, because that's an important piece too. And then we have resources based on, for international students. We generally meet our international students at the airport when they come in. We have different seminars on how to set up a bank account or a cell phone. We really try to support you through your transition to the United States. I told you that we do have a food pantry, disability resources. If you're the first person in your family who's going to college, we have support for that. English language, identity-based services for LGBTQIA+ folks, students of different races. There's just so much available to support our students. So again, you get that comprehensive experience, more so at the four-year institution. I will say that, having the community college as a launching pad to kind of connect with your faculty and maybe work on your math or your English is really, really nice. But they don't have as much funding as the larger institutions. So we generally have a lot more resources here, as you can see. Let's just talk about student employment quickly. So all international students can work on campus. You can here we go. Okay. You can work up to 20 hours a week during your big semesters. So let's look at this chart here. And about 40 hours during your breaks or your summer semester. And in the state of Colorado and at the University of Colorado, Denver, we have a minimum wage of $15 an hour. So that, is a law for us that you cannot make less than $15 per hour. And that number actually is increasing. It just increased in January. So these numbers are a little bit older. But basically what that means is if you worked the maximum number of hours at that minimum wage, and I think this was based off $14.75, you could make about $16,000 a year to contribute to your education. And if you have emailed my office or called us or anything like that, you would know that we have student workers working in our office helping our international students. And they do fun things like work with our mascot, Milo here. See this big cat? That's Milo. He's our mascot. But there's a really great opportunity to learn about working in the American system and also make some money to pay toward your degree. So here were our old employment job rates, and they've since gone up. So definitely lots of opportunity there. And then you would just apply through our portal once you are admitted to the university. So in that way, you can help to finance your career and learn more about working in the US and kind of prep yourself for an internship or optional practical training, which is also kind kind of included as part of your degree package, right? So when you get your visa, depending on the program that you choose, you get 1 to 2 years of optional practical training included. And it says on your visa that if you get a role after you finish your degree program, if you get a job off campus, right, you can go and work in the United States. It's included on your visa for 1 to 2 years. So, and we do all the prep work to support you in, you know, teaching the employer how to do OPT, how your paperwork works. We have a lot of resources on career development and how to interview in the United States or put together your resume. So just a lot of support overall from start to finish in your career. Let's see. Oh, I haven't talked about the best part. Let me talk to you about the state of Colorado and Denver. So has anyone looked at any pictures of the Rocky Mountains? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Well, we'll just look at some. So Colorado is based 20 miles from the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. It's a range that goes from the bottom of the US all the way to the top in the western part of the states. And you can see here in this picture that we're located right over here. Colorado is located about an 1.5-hour plane ride from Los Angeles. We're about 4-hour plane ride from New York. So we're nice in the middle of, you know, being able to get to different parts of the city. And I know that Brazilians do love Miami and Florida, and that's about a 6-hour flight, and pretty easy to get here from Brazil, by the way. So, you know, you would go up and stop in Panama, or you would stop in Atlanta or Miami and then come directly over. So, you know, you just have like one stop in between. It's pretty easy to get here. And then you just, outside of class, you have this beautiful place to go and explore. I love to ski and I do fly fishing. I love to go hiking. And it's really just like absolutely gorgeous and just a really breathtaking place to be. If you're not a nature person, that is okay. Not everyone in Colorado skis or snowboards or does hiking. There are some beautiful music venues. If you really love to go see a live concert and you like to dance, we have this gorgeous venue. It's called Red Rocks Amphitheater, and you can go and see concerts there or do a yoga class there. Just really beautiful place to go. And, you know, you can hike around there. There's also just lots of fun places to eat and see within Denver and the surrounding areas. From, you know, the city and the excitement of the museums and the art and the dancing to, you know, the beautiful, breathtaking nature. Colorado is an incredible place to study.
It looks absolutely beautiful. I wasn't lucky enough to go to Colorado while I was in the US, but I feel like I just might have to go back and check it out.
Where were you at?
I was in Kentucky, actually.
Whoa!
Very random place, but I was a fan. I really liked life in Kentucky too. Yeah, but very different landscape for sure. Thank you for showing us that. Like, I'm sure that's, you know, a great, what can I say? Like a great, it's great appeal for Colorado, right? Like the nature, the beauty that you guys have there, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mary Margaret, I'm looking at our time. I think we're kind of reaching the time for our webinar today.
Sure.
So I think I want to start thanking you. I hope I'm not abruptly interrupting you. I just really want to thank you for showing us so much information and your flexibility. Thank you so much. I'm sure our viewers on YouTube will appreciate as well in the recording today. We have your contact, so we'll make sure to forward questions to you. If you could please share it with us. Thank you. This is your email. I'll be sharing that with our participants today for sure. And yeah, again, sorry if I'm interrupting, but I do just want to, ask you if you have any remarks, towards wrapping up our call today.
Sure, of course. You're welcome, Soraya. I would just say, if you're thinking of applying to universities in the United States to, come here in the next few months, we have a summer start in June, but the most traditional start is in August, and that's fall. And if you were going to apply, I would say now is the time to start your application, especially if you're interested in additional scholarship funds, because we do make decisions in March. But we're always available to answer your questions via email, phone call, social media, and we have chat on our website too. So, please do reach out. Happy to answer any questions and help you get your application started. And we would love to welcome you to the beautiful state of Colorado and to Denver. So we hope to hear from you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary Margaret. I would like to thank you on behalf of Education USA. With that, I think we'll wrap up our meeting for today. Thank you so much, everyone who's here. And make sure to connect with Education USA on social media as well. I will see everyone in our next event. Have a great week ahead and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.